Welcome back to the Ignorance Project, where curiosity meets conversation and learning begins. Today, I'm sitting down with a dear friend of mine, a Black pilot who's breaking barriers and sharing his incredible journey. Did you know that as of 2023, less than 4% of U.S. pilots are Black? It's a powerful reminder of how much sky there still is to conquer. Before we dive in, check out this throwback photo of me and David from my Sweet 16. Just a snapshot of how far we've both come from those early dreams to flying high. We'll talk about resilience, representation, and what it really takes to soar above the clouds. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to the Ignorance Project. Today, I'm super excited about having someone I go way back with. So you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yes, definitely. First and foremost, thank you so much for having me on this. This is a honor. Seeing, like you said, we've known each other for a long time, so being on here is great and awesome opportunity. Name's David Smith. Originally from Chicago, Illinois. Lived in Kankakee City, about 45 minutes south. Went to school within the Chicago Heights area. And then the later side of my life lived in Huntsville. And that's where Shireen and I definitely met. That's when I found out she was a Chicago girl herself. So
Absolutely.
that was a huge connection there. Currently in Atlanta, Georgia. Been married for 7 years, have a 4-year-old son. So life is super busy.
7 years already? Oh my goodness.
7 years. Yep. 7 years in July.
Wow.
In the military, been in the military for the past 13 years as a guardsman and reservist, and currently in the airline industry as a pilot, which has definitely been a life goal of mine. So a lot of things juggling. All of it's a blessing, and I can't give no glory to nobody but the Lord. So
Amen.
about what he's doing.
Yeah. Okay. So you gave a lot, and this is the reason I want to talk to you, because you are a pilot, and I know that there are not a lot of Black pilots in the industry. So I really want to talk about your story. I want to take it back because obviously I see you. I mean, I know you very well, but I see you on social media all the time, and I always think about the people that are really close to me in my life and interviewing them. But one day I was scrolling and I saw you post something, and I was like, oh my gosh, when we were kids, David used to talk about wanting to be a pilot. You want to be an astronaut.
Yes, there you go. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And I called Jessica, my best friend, your cousin.
Yep.
And I'm like, Jessica, it's so cool. David is doing what he dreamed of doing. Right? So I want to go back to us being kids for a minute. Like, when we were kids, I never thought about asking you this then, but what made you want to fly?
Well, I gotta give it to my dad. He let me and my siblings at an early age know that, hey, we can do anything we want to do in life, right? And like you said, I wanted to be an astronaut, and that spark happened because of a movie called Apollo 13. So once I saw that movie about the Apollo 13 crew, try and get to the moon and so forth, I was like, I don't know, what or how to become an astronaut, but I'm going to research, right? I was around 6 years old, right? So between 6 and 10 was that stage of like, all right, how can I go down that journey? While at the same time wanting to be 9 other things, right? So a firefighter, police officer, when you're a kid, you want to do
Because your dad was a firefighter.
Yes. My dad was a firefighter. So I wanted to do a million things basically. Digging into research, that's when I realized, quite a few astronauts ended up getting their pilot's license. So I was like, okay, I want to be a pilot, right? Not knowing, where that would lead me. I just knew I wanted to fly and knew I wanted to be like a test pilot. So what happens in life, and you can attest to this, is the older you get, high school, college, you start to slowly, narrow things down of like, okay, this is what I want to do in life,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And while all the other nine things that I wanted to do at a young age, fell off,
Mm-hmm.
NBA, NFL, just crazy stuff, right?
All this stuff is coming back to me as you talk. Yes.
Yeah, right. So, being a pilot always
Yeah.
stayed, and that's always been my goal. So
Mm-hmm.
everything I did with joining the military,
Mm-hmm.
with doing a discovery flight at the age of 13,
Mm-hmm.
they all were towards that goal of flying.
Right.
So that spark right there from my father is
Mm-hmm.
really what initiated and had me stay focused on like, okay, this is something that I can do as well.
I love that. And again, I've known you all these years. I never knew that that was the moment that made you say, "Oh, I want to be an
Yeah,
astronaut." But I
yeah,
definitely remember you talking
yes,
about
yes, yes,
being
yes.
an astronaut.
Yeah, yeah,
All
yeah,
the movies we've seen at your
yeah.
house.
Yep, yep,
How have we
yep.
not seen Apollo 13 at your house? All the
Uh,
other movies that we've seen.
yeah, yep.
I love that. Okay. So very cool. So you decide that you're going to focus on being a pilot.
Hmm.
We started college together. Like we started at
Yep.
Oakwood together, but then you decided to take a different path. So let's talk about
Hmm.
that a little bit.
Yeah. So at Oakwood, I enrolled into aerospace engineering.
Mm-hmm.
So back in, 08, '09 when we started at Oakwood, and I think they still do it now, but there was a partnership with UAH where it's like a 5-year program altogether where you go
Ah,
in, you do a couple at Oakwood, and then you
yeah.
finish at UAH, right?
Yeah.
When you're when you're young and you're in college, you want things like pretty quick, right? You want to
Mm-hmm.
jump into things. And throughout my journey, I've realized and learned from certain mistakes and stuff. But I enrolled into the aerospace engineering program.
Mm-hmm.
Did 1 year at Oakwood. I was like, forget that. I want to jump straight into UH and start the pro. Right.
Like this
I
is
want to
taking
hurry up
too
and
long.
get done. Like I just want to start stuff.
Right.
Um, and that's where, yeah, I did 1 year, went to UAH.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Started that program, realized
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, there were certain prereqs at UAH that fell under that engineering program that I
Right.
probably should have stayed at Oakwood and taken. um, but during that time, everything was towards the goal of becoming a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
During that time at Oakwood and UH, joined the Air National Guards, right? So joined the military to see, hey, if I want to go that route and fly in the
Right.
military, while also um, having the military from my drill duties pay towards flight lessons, just so I
Mm-hmm.
can build up some type of resume
Mm-hmm.
for that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then during that process over at UH, ended up graduating with a degree in history as my first bachelor's because all I needed to commission in the military was just a bachelor's, right? So this goes back
Mm-hmm.
once again of just like, all right, let me hurry up.
Yeah.
I want to get to a goal of mine. Let me rush and try and do it.
Right.
And so, yeah, I graduated from UAH, and
Mm-hmm.
then a few years later, I was able to commission in the Air Force to start that process military wise to see if I wanted to fly.
Right. Oh, see, I didn't know any of this
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, yeah.
I'm learning a lot about you. Pathetic. I should have known all of it before. Okay, very interesting. So let me ask you this before we keep going. If you could do everything over again and still be
Mhm.
at the point where you are now, would you do it the same way or would you change? Because I know you said you probably should have stayed at Oakwood a little bit longer
Mhm.
versus going straight to UH.
You know, to be honest, I would have done things differently
Mm-hmm.
in the way of learning my mistakes of focusing on the task at hand early. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does lead later on with certain challenges when it came to this career that I had to pick back up where I didn't have that focus early on.
Mm-hmm.
If I would have learned that focus of, all
Mm-hmm.
right, David, sit down, be still, that goal will happen, right?
Right,
Focus
right.
on the task at hand, what I want to do. I just want to fly, right? I didn't
Yeah.
care about chemistry. I didn't care about, math, English. I just want to fly.
Mm-hmm.
But I realized that for me to even get to that point of being able to be disciplined enough to learn how to fly and study and
Mm-hmm.
understand my studying skills, it started at the point of being still and learning these certain subjects that were outside of flying. At that point, yes, I
Right.
feel like it's almost like the children of Israel when the Lord was leading them to the promised land, and yet because they disobeyed, they had to be in the desert for 40 years, right? Like they eventually got to the promised land. It
Right.
just took them a
It took
longer route
longer than it needed to.
than it needed to be. And I feel like that was the same with me. Like it
Okay.
just took me a longer route, but I had to learn my lessons of,
Mm-hmm.
all right, this is how you study, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it came to my flight lessons and when it came to understanding this industry, I had to buckle down. But thank the Lord for His grace and mercy. I was still able to achieve goals that I wanted, even though I hindered myself early on.
Yeah, you still got to the same point that you wanted
Yes,
to get,
yes, yeah,
right?
yeah.
But that's an excellent perspective because I know I see a lot of I can't believe I'm about to say this, younger people now, getting older.
Yeah.
I see a lot of younger people now where they're around that college age and they're like, why am I doing this? It's a waste of
Hmm.
time. I don't even need any of this. And I think that's an excellent perspective and lesson learned that they can take for themselves too. And like, oh, this is preparation for what you
Hmm.
want. And you need to go
Yep.
through that sticky
Yep.
point a little bit.
Yep.
Because you're going to have to go through it anyway, is what
There
I'm
you
hearing you
go.
say.
That
Like
that
one way or
is
another, you have
key.
to go through
That
it.
is key. I tell
Mm,
my brother, I tell my younger cousins, like
mm,
literally, if you do not face your challenges now,
mm.
don't get it twisted. You're going to face them later on, whether it's 10, 20 years from now,
I
you're
know.
going to face them. So you might
Mm-hmm,
as well face them right now,
mm-hmm,
buckle down, have those down periods, have those
right.
challenges, and then in that way, when it's game time, you're ready for it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Necessary lesson.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you're in a space where you're flying. Um, how should I say this? What's your favorite part about flying?
Um, my favorite part is that it's an ever-changing world.
Mm,
No 2 days are alike.
mm-hmm,
Um, what I do on the military is totally I'm not a pilot on the military side. I'm
mm.
commissioned non-rated officer. So when you hear rated, non-rated, it's just rated. You're some type of flying status, and
Okay.
non-rated you're not. But what I do on the military side is totally different from what I do in the flying world.
Okay.
And um, whenever I'm on long military orders, right,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm like, I can't see myself doing this in the civilian world, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great job, and it's a super beneficial job,
Mm-hmm.
jobs that I can get from a government standpoint if I wanted to. Um, but there's nothing like doing something where you go in and it's
Mm-hmm.
like it's just going to be a total different day than it was the day before.
Right.
um, I would say that's the most exciting part about flying, right? It
Mm-hmm.
brings challenges. You're always learning. Like
Hmm.
Shireen, I mean, everything we do in life, yes, you're learning, blah, blah. In this world, like, it's never stopping. Like,
Yeah,
you're
I love that.
forever. When you retire, you're
Mhm.
not going to know everything when it comes to aviation.
Really?
Yeah, it is
So,
many
okay,
aspects.
let me ask you, tell me something you learned this week that was new.
Um, this week, so I would twist it to a an airline type of standpoint
Okay.
in the aviation world. For the airlines, we have spent so much time and money into building up knowledge and training to get to a certain point, right? To
Mm-hmm.
be in this flight deck, right? So the knowledge is there, right? It's a forever aspect of learning that knowledge and digging deeper into it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
how it affects higher altitudes of operation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when I mean that, like, when you're on a commercial airline, they say, hey, we're leveling off at, 30,000 feet in the air, right?
Right.
So, um, this past trip that I was just on, there was a blizzard in the Midwest that just happened.
Mm-hmm.
And from that blizzard, right, there is obviously cold operations. And while the weather is moving from the west to the east, right,
Mm-hmm.
there was scheduled tornadoes in the Chicago area. That's where I'm based out of. I'm based out of Chicago.
Oh, cool. Sorry.
Chicago,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
So with me being saying all that stuff, right? So flying only winter operations and not having flown anything in the summer yet, and I just got my taste of a little taste of it. Is that we had to let me try to make this as equivalent understanding as possible, right? So I'm trying not to get too technical, just so everybody can understand.
All
But
right.
from where we were flying to Chicago
Mm-hmm.
was an hour flight, right? You probably understand if you fly in certain areas where weather affects you, you probably have been in the air a little longer than what the pilot or flight attendant has told you, like, hey, this is how long the flight's going to be. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So while we were on our way to Chicago, the whole airport in O'Hare, which is obviously one of the largest airports in the States and even the world, shut down. Okay. So
Wow.
with that shutting down, okay, we are at this point 28,000 feet in the air,
Mm-hmm.
right? The captain, I'm flying, the captain's monitoring. So basically, he's talking on the radios and doing
Mm-hmm.
anything to assist me with flying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Started jumping into, all right, how much fuel we have, where can we land, blah, blah, right? So we've always done this through training. This isn't
Right.
nothing new, right?
Right.
Now we're talking about a high operations with that training. So
Mm-hmm.
with that, there's certain airspeeds that we can't go below, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, so we're trying to find a place to land.
Right.
If we go low on fuel, there's a certain airspeed that we must maintain.
Oh my goodness.
Talking to dispatch through our navigational system, right? So it's not like we can talk on the phone or anything, right? We're talking to controllers in the air. So what I learned this week, right? Even though it's could be something small, but what I've learned this week is, as a passenger, you're sitting back and just chilling, eating your cookie, your pretzels, drinking
If it's
your
me, I'm
Coke.
probably sleeping.
Yeah, sleeping, right? And like in the flight deck, we're just doing like what feels like a
Yeah.
million things, but it is second nature
Mm-hmm.
for us to be
Mm-hmm.
able to jump and constantly do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So long story short, we ended up diverting to Moline, Illinois, which is
Mm-hmm.
about southwest of Chicago. Had to refill there. Certain speeds that we're at, we can save fuel versus, higher speeds, higher altitudes, right? So that is one thing. Was this past week was my introduction to what I'm going to see as a
Yeah.
first time airline pilot when it comes to
I love
summertime.
that.
Um,
Yeah. Look at you.
but it was a good experience to know that, hey, the training that I've done, even in a smaller plane,
Mm-hmm.
is the same from the airline standpoint. That is constantly just to the next level of knowledge
Right.
and understanding.
That's really cool. And it's funny because I mean, I obviously know the pilot is flying.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah,
like, well, there's nothing I can do except sit here. So I don't
yeah.
typically stress unless there's turbulence or something. I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Hmm.
I'm like, they'll figure it out because
Yeah,
what else is going to happen? But hearing that insight is definitely very helpful because I never thought about, in my head, I should say this, in my head, I figured it's like someone just telling you guys, okay, go up, go down, go left, go right. And there is more than that, obviously, right? But I just
yeah,
feel like, oh, there's someone that's like directing them. And I never think about the part that you guys have to take in
yeah.
making sure everything is working as
Working,
expected.
yep,
So,
and
yeah.
where they tell us to go, right? Controllers tell us to go is the correct information as
Mm-hmm.
well, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many layers in aviation, and which
Mm-hmm.
makes it super safe. The redundancy of it is really what pushes it to the next level of travel, safest means of traveling, because there's so many layers to make sure that, all right, we do everything that we're supposed to do within a certain standard.
Right. So I'm happy you brought up safety because
Mhm.
we've seen a lot. I've never seen so much in the media about, honestly, it feels like plane crashes or planes getting pulled over or smoke in planes. And it feels honestly kind of like an unsafe time to travel. I have not
Mhm.
canceled any of my upcoming flights.
Okay.
But I've also
Yeah.
never felt a little bit wary of traveling, although I will not cancel my flights at this point. Okay.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
can you tell someone like me that's feeling a little bit of fear right now when it comes to flying?
Um, that I understand. I
Mm.
understand. This what we do is not normal. Okay. Um, like seriously, God has made us to walk on earth, right? Not
Hmm.
fly, right? We'll fly in heaven, right?
Right.
Um, what I used to tell my students as a flight instructor, especially early on, is that I always want them to understand and assure them that, like, this anxiousness, this fear you may have,
Hmm.
that is perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Recognize it, right? And then start incorporating, all right, how can I control and make sure that I'm putting myself in a safe situation? Okay.
Hmm.
So any passengers, first and foremost, can understand that, all right, it's understandable, right?
Right.
Because it's not normal. Next thing is that these flight crews, the pilots, the flight attendants, the dispatchers, controllers, everybody in the aviation industry, their their whole job and duty is like safety.
Hmm.
And we take the utmost respect when it comes to making sure that we do everything the correct way,
Hmm.
right? Being in the military, a lot of people, say thank you for your service, blah blah blah. It is something that I've realized and saw, that you are sacrificing so much and your family is sacrificing so much. The closest thing I can say from what I see, right? And
Hmm.
yes, there's the medical personnel are the same as well, and first responders are the same as well. Is the airline industry is that next, because what they do and we do, there is a mental aspect and a sacrifice that has happened when it comes to making sure, hey, I'm going to make sure that whatever is happening at home with my family or whatever's happening in my life, I'm going to put that to the side, because the focus right now is the safety in these passengers that are in the back, or the
You're right.
passengers that's flying to and fro, right?
Right.
So the other thing is that airline personnels and
Mm-hmm.
aviation industry personnels, they take the utmost when it comes to safety. Um, and one way that can help individuals ease when it comes to certain anxieties they have, whether it's turbulence or whether it's a fear of flying, is understand where you're flying to and the time of day that you're doing it, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
another thing that a lot of people kind of don't think about, right? So if turbulence, makes you like, anxious a little bit, then maybe you should fly early morning flights, right? They are
Oh,
typically smoother
okay.
during the
Right.
morning, right? Morning flights or late night flights, right?
Mm-hmm.
During that time, and this goes, to weather and stuff, but during that time, right, that the heat of the atmosphere has lowered down a little bit, and that's
Mm-hmm.
typically is a cause of quite a few turbulence. And then understand, hey, where are you flying to? So just like I said, where we were taking passengers from Iowa or Idaho to Illinois, like we were leaving during a time where we were up to 40 knots, almost like 60 miles per hour gust of
Okay.
winds, right?
Oh my
So if
goodness.
you're taking a
Okay.
flight during that time, understand that it's going to
Yeah.
be extremely bumpy, right?
Oh yeah.
Understand that, hey, if there's going to be tornadoes or thunderstorms in your destination, that there may be a hold and there may be a
Mm-hmm.
diverting to another airport. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if you're worried about that, to reschedule your flight to a different time or a different day, that'll be the other thing where it's like understanding where you're going to and how weather plays a part, because I'll
Mm-hmm.
say a lot of times weather is a key factor when it comes to certain situations
Right.
that can push operations.
I'm happy you said that too because my mother is terrified of flying.
Hmm.
And every time I'm on a flight with her, or any of us are on a flight with her, she's like, she's gonna do it, but she's freaking out the whole time. She's the type
Yeah.
where I'm watching a movie or sleeping, and she
Yeah.
is monitoring the flight path on the
Really?
monitor the whole time. If we go to Europe, that's what she's doing, like on an
Wow.
8 hour flight.
Really? Are you serious?
Yes.
That is mentally draining. She has to be like mentally tired afterwards.
I'll tell her you tell her. She'll see this.
Yeah.
I know she's gonna be interested in this one
Yeah.
especially, but she will see this and I will reinforce like, girl, calm down, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I will definitely tell her that because I mean, obviously you know about the weather, but I never thought about planning around, oh,
Hmm.
this is typically when it's less turbulent versus more turbulent. So
Yeah.
thanks. So I went to Kenya a few years ago.
Hmm.
And I went on a safari in Kenya. And I flew from Nairobi to the Masai Mara. And that is the smallest plane I have ever flown on in my life.
Really?
Yes. And I thought
Oh.
about you because it's also the roughest flight I've ever had in my life. And I remember the flight you talked about taking little David and Sam.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I remember thinking like that is such a small plane,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm in this plane and I'm like, I'm going to die. Like, I'm probably going to pass out by the time we land because I just cannot take the nausea I did not expect to feel, or the
Uh-huh.
turbulence I didn't expect to feel. So,
Yeah. But how
very
long
interesting.
was it? How long was the
It was
flight?
probably an hour. It felt like
Okay.
8. Okay,
Yeah.
like this is the longest flight I've
Yeah. Yeah.
ever
Yeah. Yeah.
felt like I was on in my life.
Yeah. No, and it's funny you say that because
Yeah.
I wonder myself, even as a pilot, yes, I
Yeah.
don't trust other pilots, but international pilots, nothing
Yeah.
against them. It's just certain regulations,
You
right?
know what it
Like,
is here versus,
yeah, like the medical field stuff. Like there's certain regulations, right? We
yeah.
got to meet, right?
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I probably would look and make sure that they're doing everything correctly if I was in a small plane, making
Right.
sure that we weren't, over weight, right? That'll be
Mhm.
another big thing, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I mean, you're not the first where I heard where people like, I can do commercial planes, but
Yeah.
smaller, no.
Yeah, I didn't think it would feel like that at all. I'd be like, I thought like, oh, we're on this small plane. It's going to be such a cute experience. And I mean, it was an
Yeah,
amazing
yeah,
experience,
yeah.
but I did not expect that flight to like mess me up the way that it did.
Really?
Yeah, I was like nauseous for the rest of the day, but it was cool to like look down and see all these animals and so it was amazing.
Yeah.
Until
Yeah.
I realized maybe
Where
I
was
shouldn't
it
look down.
again?
I was in Kenya.
Oh,
Yeah,
Kenya.
I went on a safari in Kenya.
What year?
2023.
Oh, okay. All right. Not long ago. That's awesome. That's
Yeah, it
awesome.
was cool.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, I gotta tell him about my
Yeah,
small
yeah,
plane
no, yeah,
experience.
respect, respect. I definitely do got respect for
That's
people.
fun. Um, just going back to people's fears right now with flying and what happened in DC and what happened in Canada and everything, what I'm hearing you say is really like, you guys know what you're doing,
Mhm.
right? And to trust that.
Yeah.
So, why do things like this happen?
So, I'll say this. What makes this year unique when it comes to aviation incidents and accidents is what happened in DC, right? That was the first like major fatal accident in
Yeah.
the airline industry in over or exactly 16 years. So it
Mm-hmm.
is like the fact that it happened is what like, whoa, hold on. Like this
Mm-hmm.
hasn't happened until since the Kogan flight in 2009. And with that flight that happened in '09,
Mm-hmm.
um, the FAA changed so much when it came to come to regulations.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put in perspectives, pilots needed a certain amount of hours. It was like 250 to be able to get into the flight deck and fly as
You're
an
right.
airline pilot. They changed that all the way up to 1500, right?
Wow. Okay.
And flight hours, right? 1500, you could be like, oh, that's, such and such amount of days or, blah, blah weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, like this is like literally in the air, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it can take people, I mean, depending if you have a family, if you're single, whatnot, around 3 years to get the amount of hours you need to
Wow.
be able to fly. So they definitely made some changes. That's a reason why there's such a pilot shortage now that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that this was the a first in over 16 years
Mm-hmm.
brought so much eyes, right, to any now other incident. But if you research it, by this time last year, there has been more aviation incidents and accidents than this year,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
But last year, they weren't talking, it wasn't all over the news and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, I was just telling an aunt of mine that she reached out and was, texting me and asking the same questions and stuff. And one of the things I said was that, I don't like how the media has been playing along with this fear when it comes to the industry, right? Yes, what
Mm-hmm.
happened in DC was like super rare and it's like an
Mm-hmm.
eye opener, but don't get it twisted. Like when the NTSB comes out with like, all right, these are the probable reasons of why it happened, there's going to be changes, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There's already changes of since then. So it's playing into right, everybody's being aware
Mm-hmm.
and wanting to make sure that all right, aviation is still safe. It is still safe. And it's just one of those things that everybody's having their eyes on it, basically.
Okay. Thanks for answering that. I really appreciate it. Good to know. And I will share that with the people close to me, more specifically my mother.
Yeah.
Terrified of flights.
Yeah.
Don't be
No,
surprised if
no,
she
got
calls
you.
you after she sees this with
Oh,
like
please,
more
yes.
questions.
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, don't worry. Everything's
Yeah.
good.
Okay. So I'm gonna kind of start to wind down a little bit, but what does your son think about what you do?
Oh man. 4-year-old, man.
Mm,
Uh so I'll say this. You talked about how early on how there's not that many black pilots, right?
right, right.
And we make up less than 4% um, um, in this airline world of airline
Mm,
pilots, right?
mm,
And the percentage is even super smaller for black females, right?
right.
Um, so growing up, I didn't see nobody like me, right? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't see anybody that was black and a pilot. Obviously, when you research and stuff, you'll see certain people. I remember talking to as I got older, talking to other black pilots
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot. So when you have somebody that looks like you do something that is typically a much more dominant white industry,
Right.
um, it is a it's a motivation, but also it changes your perspective on what you can do,
I
right?
love that. Yeah.
So even though, David, little David, David third, he is, still, a young age where he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't recognize certain things. I'm glad that he's at that age where he can talk and say like, hey, my dad's a pilot, right? He
Mm-hmm.
did that at his school,
Oh.
and his teachers was like, laughing it off, like, blah, blah. And Sam, my wife, she went to pick him up one day, and the teacher was like, "Hey, David was saying that his dad's a pilot, blah blah." And Sam was like, "Yeah, he is."
Yep.
They were like,
Exactly.
"Really? Like,
Yes.
wow, right?"
I
So
love it so much. Oh my goodness.
yeah, right. So it's
Yeah.
I love the fact that he's growing up in a
Mm-hmm.
world where he's able to see whatever he wants to do, just like how that fire my dad incorporated and me and my siblings, that
Right.
he has that same thing where he can see, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I love the fact that prior to me leaving as a flight instructor, I was able to take him and Sam up in the airplane
Mm-hmm.
and have him fly a plane, right? He was, I think, 3 years old, right?
Yeah.
I obviously he doesn't understand that, but
Mm-hmm.
3 year old flying an airplane, right? So that's another thing he tells people. Oh yeah,
Right.
that's I fly that plane, blah blah blah.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
people be like, oh, yeah, 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 right?
Like,
Until
okay,
they show them
kid.
a picture and video, right? So
Yeah.
it's a great feeling. It's a blessing. I mean, it's
Mm-hmm.
nothing but the Lord to be able
Mm-hmm.
to do this and be able to provide for this way. But I know that is feeling whatever he wants to do, right? He's just like me now. He wants to be so many things. Every day is changing,
Yeah.
but that hey, he can do it if he wants to.
Your parents laid an amazing foundation. I love them so much.
Yeah,
And I
yes,
love your whole family. And you guys are doing so well. So I love that you even kind of brought it back to the way that you were raised and being inspired at that young age. That's just so amazing. I'm so proud of you.
it's definitely a blessing.
Yeah,
It's if,
definitely.
if if I can raise David even a little bit of
Mhm.
what my parents did, man, yeah, he's the sky's the limit for him.
Absolutely. Okay. So, as we close out, I have a set of random questions I'm going to ask you.
Okay,
You just tell
all
me the
right,
first thing that you think.
okay,
You ready?
yeah.
Okay. What's a book that you would recommend everybody read?
Um, Kind of random, but it's more like a diary, but Anne Frank.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm. What about Anne Frank? What is it that sticks out with you?
Um, so me being a history buff, it
Mm-hmm.
puts not only puts in perspective, but if you really live in that moment
Mm-hmm.
of what she and the Jewish community was going through,
Right.
right? And to be able to read her writings, right? And fortunately, I was able to go to Amsterdam a few years ago and
Mm-hmm.
go into where they were hiding out and stuff. It's like a out of world experience. It's it's simple, but it's very like eye opening,
Right.
right? To really be in that moment from somebody that was dealing with it, right?
It's sobering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good one. What is a song everyone should know and listen to?
All right. You said first thing that comes to my mind.
First thing. First thing.
All right. I'm huge with Fred Hammond, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's something about No Weapon
Oh, it's a
that
beautiful
just
song.
touches
Yeah.
the soul, right? And I feel like that is one. That's the first thing that came to my mind. Like if somebody needs to listen to the song, it's No Weapon because
Okay.
it just speaks, right? And you're able to feel right the
Mhm.
spirit right through that song.
Nice. I thought you were going to say, I didn't think you were really going to say this, but Beyonce, you're probably the person that got me into Beyonce and like now look at you.
Really? Are
But
you serious?
do you not remember your love for Beyonce
I
when
mean, yes, but
it,
like I didn't think that like had you like you're a huge Beyonce fan.
it started then? Because I was Kelly all
Wow.
day. I was.
Yeah.
I think it's you and Sheree Malcolm.
Yeah.
You guys switched me. Like I was like, okay, Beyonce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. What? Yeah. 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 Beyonce. Oh, Beyonce's awesome. Beyonce always been awesome. But there's something about the when she first went solo.
Yeah.
Those songs. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember. Okay. What is the best piece of advice that you've received?
To literally like live in the moment,
Mm,
right? Just focus on now and to not make the moment bigger than what it really is.
mm. Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. Well, David, thank you so, so much
Thank
for
you.
taking the time to be here and talk to the people that watch and listen to my podcast. I think that there are a lot of nuggets here that will be helpful. Um, Thank you for watching or listening to the Ignorance Project. I hope you leave enlightened.